Good morning. Welcome to UUCC, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Canandaigua. We are a group of spiritual freethinkers who gather to celebrate life, build community, and better the world. Wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. I'm Jill Poremba, your worship associate for this morning, and our service will be led by Jeff Gretton. Welcome back, and thank you to Scott Wright for providing music for us this summer. This service is also being live streamed to our YouTube channel. We plan to continue with hybrid worship services, so you can join us each week here in person, on Zoom, or later on YouTube. If this is your first visit, welcome. We invite you to sign the visitor's book in the entryway. And whether it's your first visit or your 1000th, we are glad that you came. To help us connect better with our friends watching from home, please turn around and give a wave to the camera. At the end of the service, we will invite our friends on Zoom to turn on their cameras and return the wave. I have a few announcements to share with you today. If you have a joy or a sorrow, please fill out the card on or near your chair. We invite you to bring them forward and place them in the basket after Scott rings the chimes and begins to play. You can also come forward to drop a pebble in the water if you have a joy or sorrow that you prefer not to share. Naples Pride Celebration will be Saturday, July 26th from 1 to 6 at the Naples Memorial Town Hall lawn at 135 North Main Street in Naples. A dinner in Rainbow potluck will be at 5 p.m. You can find more information, including a full schedule of events and a link to donate at Naples, New York, NaplesNYPride.com. And save the date for Sunday, September 28th from 10 to 12 for this year's Social and Environmental Justice Kickoff. Please read Social Change Now, A Guide for Reflection and Connection by Deepa Iyer. Copies are available from the UUA bookstore in Spirit at uuabookstore.org/products/social-change-now. Are there any other announcements for the good of the community? Okay. As we prepare to be fully together, I remind you to silence your phones and devices. We now enter a space of worship. Now is the time to bring forward any joys or sorrows, or come up to drop a pebble. Would anyone like to help light the chalice today? I invite you to join with me in our chalice lighting words as the flame is lit. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
I have been pondering the notion of community. This morning, as we come together, I'd like to share with you these words from Marilyn Sewell. Come into this circle of love and justice. Come into this community where we can dream and believe in those dreams. Come into this holy space where we remember who we are and how we want to live. Come now and let us worship together. Please rise as you are willing and able and join in our opening hymn, number 100, Peace Like a River, in the gray hymnal. This reading is called Show Up Hungry by Reverend Elizabeth Gwynn. I got off at work at 7 p.m. and did the thing where you chase the bus a little bit, but then realize you're not going to make it. So you walk sheepishly back to the bus station. I'm already an hour late to Sunday night singing at the Lucy Stone Cooperative, a UU affordable housing co-op in Boston. I'm still ambivalent. I could go home to Netflix and grilled cheese. I could choose predictability and warm carbs, or I could get on the bus to this community where I was first a member of the planning team and now a board member, this place where, despite my leadership role, I still find myself questioning whether and how I belong. I give myself a little pep talk, reminding myself that I'm allowed to show up late and hungry, in need of a song, reminding myself that being in community means offering care and being cared for, bringing my shiny self and my not so shiny self. When I arrive, there's a teapot of hot water and a plate of fat dates on the table. A friend presses a bowl into my hand and there's broccoli soup. We sing Amazing Grace. The wonders of accepting love have made me whole and real. Community is covenant. It's the promise of a bowl of soup and a song at the end of the day. It's love in the form of a house on Moreland Street that has said that it doesn't matter that I don't live there, that I too am welcome on Sunday nights. Laid bare, it's the succor and accountability of doing that thing together that we cannot do alone. I've not always been my best self in the communities I've loved. I've shirked dish duty at Lucy Stone and missed weddings in my hometown. I've dropped out when I was needed and showed up full of pettiness and exhaustion. The wonder of accepting love is only made evident when we're allowed to shed the shiny and let the sourness show. Our communities of spirit are only real because we show up late expecting to be fed, because we both give and get, because we bring our tart and our sweet, our gifts and our struggles. We need lemon in the lentils, rice vinegar in the sushi, a squeeze of lime in the chelada, and some acid in our communities. Without it, our communities are superficial. With no acid, we are one note, monotone. Our vulnerabilities, our bits of brokenness, bring life to our relationships. We are part of community when we show up shiny and not so shiny, when we ladle soup into each other's bowls and eat it eagerly, when we bring our sour and our sweet, when we shed the shiny and show up hungry.
Now is the time in our service to join together in the spiritual practice of generosity. Our gifts of both time and money support our church in its work. Each week, we would like to spotlight a group or a committee and thank them for their gift of time. This week, the group is hospitality. People interested specifically in helping out with after-service snacks can sign up on the fridge. 1/4 of our plate collection for the justice season will go to Justice for Migrant Families, a 501c3 nonprofit agency that promotes justice for migrant families by providing support to individuals in the federal detention facility in Batavia, information and resources to families in the community, and advocacy for both within and beyond the local community. You can give to this morning's offering by placing cash or a check into the basket or by one of the options on your screen. Please make a note that your gift is intended for today's offering. We now gratefully accept the offering. joys and sorrows. We're sending strength and love to Lynn Cronus and her father, Hank. And Elliot, you have beautiful handwriting, but I need help reading. It says, I am. Say again? In a what club?
Run.
A run club. That's very exciting. I will now drop a stone for these and all the joys and sorrows left in the silence of our hearts. Whatever is in your heart today, we are with you. Please say it again with me. We.
Now is the time for centering, followed by shared silence. Of course, by shared silence, we mean the absence of grown-ups talking to one another. So let us get comfortable in our seats. Maybe the children among us could like to lie down on the comfy rug. And wherever you are, let your breathing slow down, your eyes fall closed, and take a few moments just to be. Take a deep breath in and let it out. May the silence we hold together continue to bring peace to our hearts. Last year, Petra Pageman converted her business, Fruition Seeds, from a seeds for sale business to a gift culture. They stopped selling seeds and invited their followers into a gift economy. Petra grew up in this congregation. When I joined, she was one of the kids running around, similar age to my own kids. So I have watched with interest as her path has played out over the years. I read all of her voluminous writings on their website. Petra really enjoys writing. And I had a hard time getting my head around this latest career move until I stopped thinking of it as what I envision as a viable business and thought of it more as a community. This is a reading from the book The Serviceberry by Robin Wall Kimmerer. Saskatoon, Juneberry, Shad Bush, Shad Blow, Sugar Plum, Serviceberry. These are all among the many names for Amalankir. Ethnobiologists know that the more names a plant has, the greater its cultural importance. The tree is beloved for its fruits, for medicinal use, and for the early froth of flowers that whiten woodland edges at the first hint of spring. Serviceberry is known as a calendar plant. So faithful is it to the seasonal weather patterns. Its bloom is a sign that the ground is thawed and the shad are running upstream, or at least it was back in the day when rivers were clear and free enough to support their spawning. The derivation of the name service is from the relative sorbus, which is also in the rose family. Notwithstanding, the plant does provide a myriad of goods and services, not only to humans, but to many other citizens. It is a preferred browse for deer and moose, a vital source of early pollen for newly emerging insects, and host to a suite of butterfly larvae like tiger swallowtails, viceroys, admirals, and hairstreaks, and of course, the berry-feasting birds who rely on these calories in breeding season. In Potawatomi, it is called bozakmin, which is a superlative, the best of the berries. I agree with my ancestors in the rightness of the name. Imagine a fruit that tastes like a blueberry crossed with a satisfying heft of apple, a touch of rose water, and a minuscule crunch of almond-flavored seeds. They taste like nothing a grocery store has to offer. Wild, complex, with a chemistry that your body recognizes as the real food it's been waiting for. For me, the most important part of the word bozakmin is min, the root for berry. It appears in our Potawatomi words for blueberry, strawberry, raspberry, even apple, maize, and wild rice. The revelation in that word is a treasure to me because it is also the root word for gift. In naming the plants who shower us with goodness, we recognize that these are gifts from our plant relatives, manifestations of their generosity, care, and creativity. When we speak of these not as things or products or commodities, but as gifts, the whole relationship changes. I can't help but gaze at them cupped like jewels in my hand and breathe out my gratitude. In the presence of gifts, gratitude is the intuitive first response. The gratitude flows towards our plant elders and radiates to the rain, to the sunshine, to the improbability of bushes spangled with morsels of sweetness in a world that can be bitter. Gratitude is so much more than a polite thank you. It is the thread that connects us in a deep relationship, simultaneously physical and spiritual, as our bodies are fed and spirits nourished by the sense of belonging, which is the most vital of foods. Gratitude creates a sense of abundance, the knowing that you have what you need. In that climate of sufficiency, our hunger for more abates, and we take only what we need in respect for the generosity of the giver. If our first response is gratitude, then our second is reciprocity. To give a gift in return. What could I give these plants in return for their generosity? It could be a direct response like weeding or water, or a song that sends appreciation out on the wind, or indirect, like donating to my local land trust so that more habitat for the gift givers will be saved, or making art that invites others into the web of reciprocity. Gratitude and reciprocity are the currency of a gift economy, and they have the remarkable property of multiplying with every exchange, their energy concentrating as they pass from hand to hand, a truly renewable resource. I accept the gift from the bush and then spread that gift with a dish of berries to my neighbor, who makes a pie to share with his friend, who feels so wealthy in food and friendship that he volunteers at a food pantry. You know how it goes. If we think of our own UUCC community, how could we look at ourselves? Our physical community is pretty broad. We would have to say the Finger Lakes region. We come from all over the area. It's a factor, no doubt, but more important to us is the people community. A place to grow up, a place to show up hungry. We all show up hungry at times. Some of us talk about it. Some are simply nourished by the community of people of common interest and values. Comes down to the people again. A place to learn from each other, contribute to society, raise our kids. That kids part was particularly important to me at the time. A gift economy. I like that concept. Gratitude and reciprocity are the currency of a gift economy. So if we are gifted a spiritual bowl of soup, we respond with the urge to see the community survive. But it's the people that make it happen, all of it. I've come to appreciate the importance of the deliberate, systematic nurturing of the people community that is the core of what we are and what generates all the energy in this congregation. We could take a little step in nurturing our people community right here and now. When we conclude, you could look around and find someone you do not know very well and say hello and learn something about them. And now please rise in body or in spirit and join in our closing hymn, number 140, Hail the Glorious Golden City, in the gray hymnal.
See
If you are joining us from home, you can turn on your camera now. And please join me in our words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.